On the 28th of July 1944, V-1 is launched. As a new day breaks, its target is London. But just as the crew of Lancaster EM-U believe their long night is coming to an end, it is about to be violently interrupted. With the V-1 approaching its optimum speed of 400 mile an hour and the Lancaster at a cruising speed of 190 mile an hour, the bomb, packed with 850 kilograms of Amatol high explosive, is closing fast. It's confirmed the rear gunner Sergeant Marriott knows exactly what this telltale flame is. It is a V-1 diver, and it is closing the gap rapidly. The V-1 is accelerating all the time as it tracks towards the British mainland. As these two weapons of war become in sight of each other, by a staggering coincidence, they are locked on the exact same heading: west, north, west. Through the perspex, Sergeant Marriott reconfirms, not a fighter, a diver, on an automated deadly course for the capital city. Above the cockpit noise of the Merlin engines, the flight engineer is relayed a message that a diver has been spotted by the rear gunner below.
Right, it's definitely a V-1, and it's closing in on us fast.
Diver, port quarter below. I'm going to have a crack at it, skipper.
The skipper reacts instantly. He slams the throttles through the gate into full combat power.
Right, I'm giving you everything she's got. Get in, knock that bastard down.
4 Merlin engines answer with a rising roar. The airframe shudders, pushing over 280 miles per hour, the absolute limit of the Lancaster's endurance. Reaching 18 pounds of boost on all 4 engines, the bomber sprints to buy time for the rear gunner to find his mark on this deadly gyroscopic clockwork menace. Tracking an accelerating target against the glare of the sea is a marksman's nightmare. Sergeant Marriott steadies his sights. Calculating a long port deflection shot won't be easy. The tail gunner knows he is only going to get a few chances at best. It has to count. Young gunner, relying on his training, takes a deep breath and unleashes the Lancaster's rear guns. 4 Browning machine guns bark at a combined rate of 5,000 rounds per minute. The bullet stream flies down to its target.
By God, I'm hitting him with everything.
The first stream of bullets streak out on their way down to the target, but they miss, slicing through empty air as the V-1 surges ahead. Sergeant Marriott knows this last stream of bullets is his last chance. He unleashes the Brownings again.
Go on,
the V-1 is gaining speed and will pass them within seconds.
Hit it.
If it slips past the guns, it'll be a tough job for anything to stop it. Direct hit. The V-1 lurches as gunfire rips through its body, shredding its wing clean off. It spirals out of control into the channel, erupting in a violent explosion. The once thought impossible has been achieved, and the Lancaster crew know it. They pulled off an outstanding feat, previously believed to be within the reach of only fighters or ground artillery. It really was an incredible achievement of teamwork and skill. The skipper reins in the 4 Merlin engines, back to normal operating speed. They have earned their pints tonight, especially the gunner Sergeant Marriott for his excellent marksmanship. But just a short while later, while on a gardening operation in Denmark, they were to take their final fateful flight. The crew, aboard a different Lancaster EM-M, at around 2100 hours, their aircraft was attacked by a German night fighter and caught fire. Despite the chaos inside the Lancaster, the crew made every mine safe, which were jettisoned by parachute and fell near the Danish village of Lastrup without exploding. By making the mines safe, the crew spared many on the ground, though their own aircraft fell in flames, with all lives lost. They are buried in Lastrup churchyard, central Jutland, Denmark, and are commemorated on a memorial in the church, where their graves are still tended to this day. June 1944, 4:45 a.m. A V-1 flying bomb catapulted to 250 miles an hour roars off its launch ramp from the northern French coast. Its course set for London, England, the pulse jet-powered V-1 accelerates as it begins to gain heightened speed. This is going to be the first time it will be vulnerable to attack. For this operation, RAF Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9s, vectored by radar, are sent to counter the V-1 flying bomb threat. The pilots circle around 6,000 feet, waiting for the right moment to dive on their target. The Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9, though not the fastest of the later Marks, could still intercept the accelerating V-1 flying bomb by diving to gain speed, exploiting its superior aerodynamics to exceed engine-limited performance. This version of Spitfire was armed with a mix of 303 Browning machine guns and two 20mm Hispano cannons, each capable of firing over 600 rounds per minute. In the heat of the chase, the pilot had a very limited window of fire, lasting just around 20 seconds. With ammo exhausted but still carrying dive speed, the chase is on, but another tactic would soon be required. Pilots would also have to be aware of overspeed from their dive, as they could be carrying too much velocity, so skilled throttle control was vital. The next strategy demanded full power, dauntless courage, exceptional skill and precision finesse, requiring steady hands and flawless flight control, all the while screaming towards the target, with the Merlin engine at full boost, flying at its limit. Once caught up, there were a few ways to knock a flying V-1 bomb out of the sky. One was to place a wing under the V-1 wing to create aerodynamic disturbance and tip it over. The other, we're about to see, involved physically pushing it over, a much rarer and much more dangerous method, but still got the job done. The pilot would position his wing beneath the V-1 and shunt upward, disrupting the bomb's gyroscopic stability, throwing the bomb off balance and into an uncontrolled fatal dive. The V-1's gyro, unable to recover, the bomb plummets into the sea. Both manoeuvres demanded perfect timing and fearless courage, which the RAF were never in short supply of. In the summer of 1944, the Hawker Tempest patrolled the British skies. Its target, the Argus Pulsejet engine-powered Vizsla 103, or V-1. It had many names, a well-known name being Doodlebugs, on their one-way flights towards London. To the RAF, these targets carried the official operational designation, divers. Rising to meet this threat was a pilot who flew with a cold mechanical precision. Squadron leader Joe Berry, a gritty County Durham lad from the mining heartlands of Tersdale, commanded the brute force of the Hawker Tempest Mark V. This was a beast of an aircraft, powered by the massive 24-cylinder Napier Sabre engine. As the pulse jets thundered toward the capital, Berry pushed his machine into the divers' flight paths. The Hawker Tempest, in level flight, was fast enough to overtake the V-1, which had a top speed of about 400 miles per hour. He was a pilot who mastered the technical limits of the RAF's most capable interceptor, patrolling the low-level altitudes where the air was thick and the margin for error was non-existent. Every interception was a deadly calculation. Inside the nose of every V-1 sat 850 kilograms of Amatol high explosive. It was a massive volatile payload that turned the Doodlebug into a devastating remote weapon. Berry begins his attack. He throttles forward, banking his 7-ton Tempest to line himself just off centre of the pulsing exhaust of the V-1. He has it in his sights. He steadies the airframe, closes one eye, fires. 420mm Hispano cannons hammer out a lethal rhythm, pouring round after round into the V-1. The deadly payload detonates, swallowing the Tempest in a blinding sun of fire. As the fireball dissipates, Berry punches through the blast. The shockwave hits hard and the aircraft rolls violently. He wrestles the airframe back to level flight. Joe Berry of 501 Squadron can breathe again. Another clockwork menace blasted out of the skies. But October the 2nd, 1944 was to be his final op, flying with two other Tempests on a Ranger strike near Kibbelgaarn in the Netherlands. It was an operation he wasn't even scheduled for. as his widow Joyce would later recount. Joe didn't have to be in the air that day, he just went to help his squad mates. The flight is screaming across the Dutch fields, low at just 50 feet to stay under the German radar. At this altitude the ground is a blur of green and brown and every hedgerow hides a threat. Then the unthinkable, not a flak battery or a Fokker Wolf, but lucky light gunfire from the ground. That small arms round finds the Achilles heel of the Napier Sabre engine. It seizes instantly. He pulls back the stick, trading speed for height, but the Tempest, she goes heavy and wing over. His last words.
Carry on, chaps. Oh, babies.
The massive torque roll snaps the 7-ton Tempest into a terminal roll. Poor Joe Berry has run out of sky. The lad from the mining pits of County Durham who reached the stars. At just 24 years old, Squadron Leader Joseph Berry, DFC and 2 bars, remains the undisputed king of the V-1 hunters. With 60 kills, he saved thousands on the ground before giving his life to keep his squad mates in the sky.
It's not about medals. It's not about thank you. But it's nice to be remembered.